All right, here he goes again.
Nei, saken at vi trenger ikke å ta opp dette her, da, for det er liksom kjedelig for folk.
Jo, det er dette man bør ta opp. Nettopp dette her.
Dette går jo ikke, dette her heller. Jeg må ha mer lys.
Har ikke du noen gutter der nå som du kan holde sånn hodelykt, og så bare stå og se på deg mens du prater med hodelykt på?
Jeg hadde det enda vært så vel, men Niklas han spiller jo i Telia-ligaen på Rocket League nå, så han er liksom ikke helt klar for det.
I think we lost Knut. We have Brian here.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I think I'm gonna do something like...
Brian with the beard and... Oh, that's the chicken, the chicken thing.
That's a rooster, but the image didn't fit.
The rooster.
Or, yeah.
How's it going?
Good, or I have to slaughter him tomorrow. Is that the right word? I guess it is.
Slaughter?
Yeah, make dinner.
The rooster?
Yeah, he's attacking the kids, so can't keep him.
You're actually eating a rooster. That's weird.
Yeah, cocaine? Is that the word?
Yes.
Yep.
Let's see here.
It's definitely a word. And we have Knut. Hello, Knut.
He's back.
Kanskje Knut vil ikke snakke med oss.
He has no camera and no mic, I think. So.
No camera and no mic.
No sound, sorry. Microphone on.
I'm wondering how to do this maybe. Oh, okay.
Brian, I saw your post on Raspberry Pi and stuff, and I saw that you were talking with Guide a little bit about it. Maybe you could write a separate script on how to get Guide to a lamp shop to buy a new lamp. I just start really simple. Every week it's like, oh no, we need more light, and I haven't got enough light here. And then after we get the lights fixed, he's going to get the camera thing, like the camera angle. He's getting there. It's like he's getting better every week.
Yeah.
But you can do it quite simple. Just do it like, I have background, so you probably won't see. I just have a bulb hanging.
Do you guys see me now?
Yeah, we see you, yeah.
Is this fine?
It definitely looks a bit like occult, sort of like you're ready for a like hold hand seance sitting around a table thing, but that's pretty cool as well. So,
what's the name of Hannibal? Hannibal, yeah.
I think Knut has some problems because he's going in and out of the room. So I think I don't know.
In real life, that would be so fun if we were all just sitting in the same room and there's one guy called Knut that just walks into the room, looks around and just walks back out again without saying anything. Just walks back in again and walks out and walks in and walks out. It'd be so fun. Who is this guy? He's Knut. He doesn't hear us and he can't talk. He just walks in and out.
Yes, Guide, how's it going?
Hey, Guy, looks okay.
Jeg vet ikke. Jeg vet ikke hva som skjer. Jeg tror det er greit.
Jeg ser frem til I morgen.
Jeg er live nå. Da må du vente litt. Da er det et eller annet som har skjedd. Jeg vet ikke.
Oh, the problems.
Okay, somebody has a problem with the internet, but I'm live, so I can't really... Ja, den kommer sikkert snart. Ja, der. Nå skjer det noe. Jo, nå skjer det. Der. Nå kommer den. Nå blir den grønn. It's okay. It's fixing itself. It's going to be okay.
Somebody broke the internet, Guy.
Yeah. I think I broke the internet. Oh, so it was you. Okay. I'm okay. I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Right, Brian, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, yes. Born ready, man.
How to learn things faster, Guy? This is a great subject for you now, I think.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You know, for the first time in ages, I actually prepared a couple of points.
I think, Guide, I think the point was that how to learn things faster is that every week you're doing the same things. Or like, is my light okay? Is my camera angle okay?
No.
Like this is the
but
third.
it's,
No, this is the third webinar. So like how to
I
learn things
know,
faster.
but it's faster.
It's a very funny way to start. You know that.
Did we lose him now? Or?
Yeah, I think his
Yeah,
internet
he's
just
gone.
went down. Yeah.
This is a great start.
His son, he probably had this discussion with his son, and the son went and thought, okay.
There, finally. I think I got back to the normal internet. I think I was on 4G, and then I got back to the normal internet. But you know, it's faster. It's faster this time than the last time. That's the point.
Oh, this is great. This is funny.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of ready now. But you know, I got 5 points that I jotted down on my PC as a hyperlist.
Perfect. So
this is what I want to cover, and I think I can cover that in about 5 minutes.
oh shit, you can start with the one then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can just rattle through this so that people can get the point straight away, and then we can talk about it afterwards, and then you can add stuff if you want, you know.
Sounds great.
So my first point, which is actually point number 0, so it doesn't count as the number of, you know, the 5 points. So it's actually number 0, and that is learning to fail. And the point with learning to fail is that fear of failing is directly related to fear of being successful. Because if you're afraid of failing, you're also afraid of trying, which makes it very, very hard to be relaxed about succeeding. So the point number 0 is you have to actually challenge yourself and try to do something that you will eventually fail at. And juggling is a very good idea to start with, because when you start to juggle, the balls will fall always. So there you can get accustomed to failing without any real consequences. I'm not advocating that you should try failing if you're a brain surgeon or if you have some life or death job that you really shouldn't fail in. I'm talking about failing that does not actually kill you or somebody else.
Especially if it's your own brain, you shouldn't do it.
Especially if your own brain, you shouldn't do it. So the point is, try to go out of your comfort zone, not just because you're going to learn from the failure, but because you're going to learn how to fail. Learning how to fail make you relaxed about failing, make you relaxed when you're going to succeed, makes it easier to succeed. So learning to fail is a very important subject all in itself. And that's why I wrote the book #fail, which is a one-page book. You can just read that on isna.org or acircle.no. And you will figure out the backstory to this, which has something to do with Japan, etc. But learning to fail is point number 0.
And then you will post it now, right, on the group also?
Yeah. I can do #fail, posting that one-page book, sure. And then point number 1 then is wanting to learn, which is you have to figure out why you want to learn exactly this thing. Learning how to play guitar, learning how to speak in public, learning quantum mechanics, learning something. You have to figure out why you want to learn it. Because if you don't know why, you're just sort of doing it because of the education or because your dad did it or because some other reason. If it's not your own reason, it's going to be very much harder to learn something. So figure out your own reason why you really want to learn this thing and be honest about it to yourself. And number 2 is get going. Actually start learning it. You know, people tend to postpone. We talked about this in procrastination. And one of the reasons why people procrastinate learning something is because they haven't figured out point number 1, learning or understanding why you want to learn something. If you really don't know why, you will procrastinate. You will move it away, you will push it off, and you will never get started. So number 1, figure out why. Number 2, get going. Number 3, when you start to actually get into the subject, make drawings, build it, do something physical that relates to this thing. Doodling and drawing the thing, it's a very good thing to do, but you can also do, you know, you can have a little kit of Lego pieces or whatever and try to build it as you go along to represent it some way in pictures or in a physical form. Doing it in clay is cool. You know, Lego is perfect. And then number 4, and this goes straight to Richard Feynman. He is a Nobel laureate in physics. And He said, if you really want to understand something, you should try explain it to a 10-year-old. And then you will figure out where you struggle. So number 4 is explain it to someone else, preferably a child. Watch your struggles and your holes, and then patch them. Because teaching it to somebody who is really young will, you know, you will encounter questions that adults are too polite to ask. If an adult don't understand what you're saying, they go, yeah, oh, okay. But the child goes, I didn't get that. What the heck are you talking about? Please explain that again in a better way. And you have to make it simple. Otherwise you will, you know, lose the child. So explaining it to a child is a perfect way of figuring out your own holes. And then something I bring from Scientology, because I was in Scientology from 1984 to 2009. And one of the few things that you can take away from Scientology is this thing about clearing words and symbols. It's actually not a thing from Scientology. It's a ripoff from somebody else in the 50s. But the thing about this is a page full of words is simply a page full of words. So if you understand every word, you understand everything that's there, because that's the only thing that's there. So if you go past a word or symbol you don't understand, you will notice, or maybe not, but you will figure, your mind will start figure on what that is. And this is the thing about the human mind. It's allergic to not understanding. This is why we get rumors. This is why we get, you know, if somebody says something strange, you go, oh, I wonder why he said that. And then instead of asking the person, you try to figure out and you invent reasons why he would say it. And this is how rumors come about. And this is how dubbing people, you know, get their ideas about why something happens from their own mind rather than from reality. So what is actually happening is like this. You read a word and you go, I'll take this in very, very slow motion now. You read a word, I get that. You read a word, you read a word, and you come to a word that you really don't fully understand. And it's not like you don't understand the word at all. It can just be that you don't understand the word used in that context. And here we come to the English language has a lot of definitions for a lot of the words in the language. Like run, the word run has 197 different definitions. So there isn't a person on the planet who knows all the definitions of run in every context possible. So it might be that this way of using the word is unfamiliar to you. And that might throw you off. And the mind goes, I wonder what that means. And the eyes keep going along the words until you get to the bottom of the page. And then you're physically doing something else than just moving your eyes across the page. You're actually going to flip the page. And then you come to, oh, what the heck did I just read? And everybody I know has experienced this phenomenon. They read a page, get to the bottom, going to flip the page and go, what the fuck did I just read? And the strange thing about this is that this happens in every classroom, every day in front of every teacher on the planet. And I have yet to discover a single teacher that knows this phenomena or how to solve it. And that is what I call dereliction of duty. You have this enormous amount of teachers going, I don't know, I have no idea why this happens. And I have no idea how to patch it, but I don't give a shit. I just keep teaching. And the students keep running into this phenomena. I don't know what I read, but never mind that. We just keep going. I mean, if a computer scientist went like, I don't know why this bug happens, but I don't give a shit. I just keep writing code that doesn't work. I mean, you would be thrown out of computer science. But the teachers, they don't care. They just go on. And the pupils don't know, and they just keep going and do not get through the page or get bored or, you know, drop mathematics or think it's boring or whatever. But the point is, every time this happens, it is because there is a word or symbol on that page that you actually passed and didn't fully clear. Your mind tries to clear it. Your mind tries to explain it. And it tries to associate, and before you know it, you're in Bahamas with a bunch of harem full of ladies, and you're doing all kinds of weird positions. And this is what happens in your mind. But what you should do is just stop there and think, something happened. I'm wondering in my mind. It's not because it's boring. That comes later. It's because you hit a word or symbol you didn't fully understand. Then you have to clear it or not, but you have to decide whether you should clear it or not. If it's important, you clear it. If it's not important, you just notice that I don't understand this. But the fact that you notice it will help you continue without having to wander off aimlessly in your mind trying to figure out what this shit is. So that's actually point number 5. So to list this thing, learning to fail, number 0, then figure out why you want to learn this, then start, actually get going. Then 3, make drawings, build it in Lego or whatever. Then 4, explain it to somebody else, preferably a child. Watch your struggles, your holes, patch them. And number 5, clear words and symbols if it's actually important. But notice it and then clear it if it's important.
Sounds good. But I want to, because this reminds me of a story that Brendan actually did to his neighbor. And this is about, I think, the 4th you said about explaining it to a kid, because I know his neighbor was going, his father asked to Brendan to help his kid with getting I don't know if it was an A or a 6 in maths at one exam, and he needed your help, right? This is, I think that was a great story.
Brendan.
Yeah, so we did that. We actually ran him through, I think he was going to give a presentation. So I sent him out of my living room and I told him to come in and explain it. And the first thing we had to do was like fix the guy to own the room. So just like take the presents, and then we sent him in and out about like 50 times. And then after he could own the room just physically, he came in and then he started explaining something. And then after that, we sort of said, okay, we got to get this simpler. And then we started fixing it simpler and simpler and simpler. And he was going in and out and in and out. I think this was about like 100 times he was in and out. And then I got my 2 kids. This is a couple of years ago in there. So they were like 7 and 10 or something. I got my 2 kids and sit them beside me and say, okay, go out, now come in. Explain it so these 2 here get it. And then he had to, wow, that was like a challenge. So didn't we fix that? And they were like, no, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. It has to be simpler. It has to be simpler. It has to be simpler. So in the end, he went out. This was like 2 hours training. And then he went out and he finally came in and owned the room, give the presentation. The kids go, oh, now I get it. You mean like this? Yeah, like that. And then said, there you go. That's it. Game over. We've done it. So he went in the next day and he just aced it totally. It's this idea of just drilling it, and then can you explain it really concise and really simple to a 10-year-old? It's a nice goal to aim for.
I actually tried this to make it even simpler. I started teaching algebra to kids who were like 7 or 8 years old. I started with my own kid, Niklas, when he was 6, I think. And I gave him an equation after I taught him algebra. I gave him an equation that was 2 times x minus 1 equals 11. And he thought about it for maybe 3 seconds, and he said, X is 6. And he was 6 years old. And then I moved the bar lower, and I figured out how to teach algebra to kids who are 5 years old. And it takes about an hour. And they can then start, doing equations with X and Y and A and B and whatnot. And this is where most people stumble when they get problems in mathematics. They stumble on algebra. And the main thing they stumble on is the equal sign. They don't really understand the equal sign. And the problem they run into, most of them, is that they think the equal sign means becomes. Because you can think about that when you do normal numbers without X and Y's and A's and B's, you can say 2 plus 3 becomes 5. But the problem with becomes is that it introduces an action. Something happens to 2 and 3 to make it become a 5. And people don't really get that because it has nothing to do with becoming anything. The equal sign is like, it's a level. And I don't know what you call this when the kid sits there and the kid sits there and they go like this. What do you call that in English?
Do they only say bumper or something? I don't know. The bumper.
You mean the kids go like this?
No. They sit on a lever, right? And one kid sit there, and another kid then go up and down like a what do you call that? Titter tatter or something?
Like a seesaw.
Seesaw? Is that what it's called?
Just pretend that's what it's called.
Okay, Cecil. and the kids know that if one of the kids is heavy, they will sit like this, and nothing will happen because the other guy is just up there and nothing happens, right? So it has to be level. And I teach the kids, if you put something on this side, you have to put the equal amount on this side, otherwise it will tilt, and it should never tilt. That is what the equal sign means. It means the same on each side. It has nothing to do with becoming anything. It's just the simple representation that there is an equal amount on each side. And when you start with that, it makes it very, very much easier to learn algebra, because you say, you take 5 boxes here, take 2 boxes here, and then you take a bag, which you just mark an X on. So how many boxes are in the X or in the bag? And they go, it has to be 3, because it has to be level, right? And you teach them by doing this for about half an hour, and they get it. And then you get each kid that solves my equation up on the board to make a new equation for another kid to solve. And somebody raises their hand and solves the equation, they get the prize of going up and writing a new equation for the next kid. And you do that for about half an hour until they lose interest. And that's about an hour, and everybody knows algebra. You can do this very, very fast, very easy. And it's an example of how you clear every concept. You make it very fully understandable. The equal sign, the plus sign, the numbers, you just clear everything for them. And that makes the whole concept go, aha.
You said something there that's interesting, because you said then they lose interest. So I think for me, like, how to learn stuff faster, because, you know, like, I divide my time into roughly 100 days. So the last 9 years, I've done 100-day projects, and people think I'm a bit crazy doing these 100 days. So the recent one has been jumping rope, like skipping rope and jumping rope. But what I actually do, because I couldn't jump rope the first day I was trying, I was like falling. It was like really ridiculous, and I got the film. It just looks really silly. And what I actually do then is I just totally surrender myself to think like, okay, I'm going to be so interested in jumping rope. So what I do is I go onto YouTube, I find all the videos that I can, I check all the podcasts, I check all the websites, I just go totally crazy, no matter what it is. If it's Rubik's Cube, if it's learning, like whatever, I just go totally 100% interested. So it's this idea of just sort of surrendering me to the interest in whatever has to be learned. And then finally, if sometime it's like, I'm going to lose interest, that's also fine. But then it's totally fine. The learning will stop then. So I think that for anything, for me to get really deep into learning, I just sort of pretend the interest from day one and just go totally 100% all in. That's how I do it.
Yeah. But then you also have an idea on why you want to do it, because you get.
Yeah, but the idea is I'm curious. I wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah. Which is a perfectly fine motivation for learning anything. It's like, I'm curious to see what happens if I pull the cord in a skydiving jump or not. That's a reason for learning skydiving, for instance. Or I wonder what will happen to me if I stand on a stage. I'm terrified of standing on a stage, actually playing the guitar and singing, which I'm terrible at doing. I wonder what will happen if I do that. That's perfectly fine as an excuse or motivation for learning something, obviously. Like you did when we did this seminar up in the north of Norway, and you started singing and doing guitar or playing the guitar on the stage. It was not very good, and the guys were like, "What the heck is happening?" So
the problem with learning to play the guitar is that it's really, Brian, do you play the guitar? No, it's really painful on the fingers at the start. You have to get past this sort of threshold. You have to toughen up the fingers. So I trained nonstop for like 3 weeks, like every single day I was training. But so when it finally came to the day after the 3 weeks, my fingers were like, they were so sore. They were almost like bleeding. It was really, really bad. So I couldn't actually perform what I'd learned. So it was really bad. Additionally, on top of that, my singing isn't great. So that performance...
I wasn't actually complaining about the guitar playing.
Well, that performance wasn't great. It was really bad guitar and it was really bad singing. But the best thing is that people were shouting for more. So they actually got the full thing again. So they got it twice. Just the second time everybody took up their mobile phones and filmed it.
Yeah, that was really cool though, and the song was really, you know, shocking. So it was cool.
Yeah.
But Geir, can you explain a little more about, because you mentioned Lego?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. Have you learned faster by building Lego? I know you do that a lot, right?
Yeah, I do that a lot, or actually try to use stones or anything that you do. You just try to represent stuff. Like when I learned particle physics, one particle is a Lego piece, another particle is a Lego piece, and then they melt together, and I build the Lego pieces together, and now they become this proton. You know, three quarks become a proton or a neutron. You know, and the electrons goes around the center of the atom, the nucleus, and I represent this with Lego pieces, because then it becomes more real to me. It becomes easier to actually envision it and see it. So one thing is learning from YouTube videos, which works fine, but if you're out there, you know, sitting somewhere reading a book and trying to figure the stuff out, there's always something around that you can use to represent stuff. I do this when I teach things or I explain things in a restaurant. I often use, you know, this fork is now your mother, and this knife is now your father, and they're quarreling, you know, and I'm actually doing the physical representation of this by using glasses or forks or knives or whatnot, right? And sometimes I can do this on stage with not only things, but actually people. I pull people off, you know, out of the audience and say, oh, okay, you're going to be the mad stepmother and you're going to be the daughter. And we role play these things to make it very, very clear and visible to the people in the audience. So you have to make it physical. You have to actually represent it. Otherwise, it becomes too abstract. What does he actually mean by this? But when you see it on stage actually unfolding, you will go, aha, this is what he means by really pissed off, angry. I understand that now. So, yeah.
Cool. Brendan, anything to add?
Brian, what about you? Anything to add?
Well, I think that as you have mentioned, you need to know why. I have been wondering or wanted to learn home automation since 6, 7, 8 years, but I have never had the project before now, because now I needed to do something with ventilation, heat and light in the hen house. And then I went out, bought a Raspberry Pi, plugged it in, tested it out, figured out that I need to learn MQTT to get different Raspberry Pis to talk to each other. So then I started doing that. And of course, you will fail and you will fail and you will fail. But at the end, you will succeed if you really want it. And I think that's my main point. You just have to jump in it and you need to know what you want to accomplish.
And just for the people who don't understand what MQTT is, it's a protocol. It's a language that small devices use when they talk to each other.
Yeah,
it's like a refrigerator can talk to, you know, your computer, or a sensor, a temperature sensor outside can send small, you know, it's 13 degrees outside, and that little message is going as a little MQTT package through the wires and into your computer, and the computer understands it's 13 degrees centigrade outside.
I also think another thing that we can talk about, because is this idea of only learning, like only having one thing at a time. I mean, the technique of switching is a really good technique to switch between different things. And I use that a lot in training, like training teenagers or kids or adults. It's this idea of we're going to learn something weird here, and then we switch and we're focusing on this, and we switch and focus on this. But we definitely make it clear, like right now, we're just going to do this one thing. Then 5 minutes later, we can be on something else, but we're not doing these 5 things right now. So it's always like one thing at a time. And tell people this is the one thing that we have to get right now. This one thing.
Exactly. You serialize things, you don't parallelize them, because trying to do 5 things in your mind at the same time is extremely difficult. And women think they can do this and try to convince men that it should be done, but it's a complete idiotic way of actually trying to learn anything. So do what you do when you do it, and do it well, even if it's just 1 minute at a time.
There's some disclaimers, like a lot of women are really smart.
Yeah, but we don't need disclaimers here. It's a general thing that, oh,
You're
we're
already
so good at...
you're already pissed off the Scientology thing earlier, and we're not going to piss off Scientology and women. There's going to be very few left.
I got one friend left, and that's you. And then this is finished. So no. But the thing is that this is also goes for men who try to excuse why they are multitasking. Multitasking is not a good idea. It takes a lot of time to actually switch between things, and do that as seldom as, you know, possibly less often than you think you should. So we had this exercise, Brendan, when you demonstrate how stupid this multitasking is. And you can do this by just trying it out on yourself. You try to write down the number 1 and the first letter of the alphabet, which is a capital A, and then you try to do just one stick, which is number 1, just 1, and then you try the Roman numeral 1, and then you try a lowercase a, and then you go number 2, capital B, 2 sticks, then Roman numeral 2, and then lowercase letter b, and then you go C, D, E, F, and that's multitasking because you have to actually switch so often, and then you time yourself going down to K, let's say K. But then you try to do it the other way around. You go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, K, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you do it column-wise instead of row-wise. And you will see that you do it just about twice as fast when you don't multitask, when you don't switch that often. You just do the letters, then the numbers, etc. So it's better to keep to one thing at a time and not trying to mush it together in your head and multitasking like mad.
And I think also that's, like you said before, also that a lot of teachers need to hear actually this one, because I think they switch a lot of exercises at school too fast for children to like do the flow. They can't like switch as fast as we do. So that's a great point, I think.
Yeah, when Nicholas went from Montessori, being in a Montessori school until he was 16 years old or 15 years old, and then he moved on to junior high, he got into the normal setting, the public school setting, and he was really pissed because he couldn't really deep dive into the subject before the bell rung, and everybody had to go out of classroom out 45 minutes. He was used to actually submerge himself in the subject until he was actually at the point where he felt he understood it, and sometimes that took 2 hours. And he was irritated by the fact that, oh, it's 45 minutes that defines when I'm supposed to be understanding something, not my own actual understanding, but the time limit, which is really annoying. So, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're teaching something to somebody, then have this in the back of your mind that maybe they're not doing the switch as good as many others are doing. So if they don't catch up, then maybe this is a great way to think about how.
Yeah,
it's one thing. It's like you can either have learning in the middle, like a lot of Montessori method or Montessori school, they have learning in the middle. That's the key, the core of everything. Everything has to be built around learning. And other schools can have teaching in the middle. And then teaching is like, this is the core of what we do. It's teaching. And teaching or learning is like, so you have a teacher and you have a learner. And unfortunately in Norway, those words get a bit mixed up. So, but in English, it's a lot easier to understand teacher and learner.
Yeah.
So
true.
I have in my mind, I find that when I get some information that I'm supposed to learn or do something, if I mix that with some kind of emotions, then I will learn it faster. It will stick faster. Do you have anything about thoughts about that?
Yeah, I do. And that is because we already mentioned this before. I mean, we can just like it. If you find something, anything at all that you can like about what you're trying to learn, that's definitely going to help. So, and a silly example is whenever I'm skipping rope, I hit myself on my head. My back looks like I'm being whipped, like really seriously punished. It just looks totally crazy. So, and then I can get this, okay, so I've just whipped myself today. I was almost crying today outside. It was so painful. And then it's like, all right, I have to learn to stop whipping myself. And then I can either decide, okay, so what's the best emotion to attach to handle this right now? And that's this I mean, sometimes it's not easy because sometimes something happened and we're giving away this, oh, that teacher is creating this emotion in me or something, and we're giving this away. But it's a really nice thing in learning. Okay, I get back to this why I want to learn. This is why I want to learn. And then this idea of, okay, so I can definitely find something in what I'm doing that I can like, no matter what it is. And even if the liking on the whipping of the skipping rope, that's this really silly situation of a 45-year-old man at the back of his house almost crying because he's whipping himself with the damn rope. It's so crazy.
Yeah, and any positive emotion, and there are a lot of different positive emotions, like liking something, or being curious about something, being interested about something, laughing about something, being cozy about it. Get your favorite cup of tea, your favorite biscuits, and the surrounding should be conducive to actually learning this thing. All of that is part of the good emotions about learning something. And then also another thing is that every session you should end on a high instead of ending, fuck, I don't understand it, I'll leave it till tomorrow. No, end when it's a good time to end, not when you throw the book into the wall and walk away from it. You should actually get through that and then, now I get it. And then you should stop. Then you should go, okay, leave it then, because more tomorrow.
I got something else. This is the power of sleep. I mean, trying to learn something, sometimes like sleep, it doesn't even have to be a full night. It can be like a 20-minute power nap. And the fun thing is that I definitely believe that the brain just keeps trying to get it if we just don't try and really learn it. So if we just like, oh man, come on, I'm trying to learn something. So, okay, I gotta sleep. If I sleep for 20 minutes, I just get out of my brain's way. And then the brain just fixes it. And then I can get back from the power nap and do it again and say, now I get it. Why didn't you say this before?
Yeah. But it's not like you actually have to understand everything before you leave it. You can also leave it while not understanding it, but you shouldn't leave it when you're completely pissed off. That's the point. You can go, I wonder what this really means, but I'm feeling okay about it. Then you go to bed. And if you can do lucid sleeping or lucid dreaming, then it's even better, because then you can just, marinate on it. You can dream about it. If you're able to control your dreams, you can also move in and out of that subject while you're dreaming, which is an excellent thing to do. I used to do that a lot since I was a kid. I can always, control when I was dreaming, not when I was dreaming, do my own nightmares and compose whatever I was doing in sleep, which was quite helpful.
This is like How to Learn Faster, right? The title of this webinar. But there are some situations in life where looking back, I was like, I wish I'd learned that actually slower, like faster just wasn't the goal. So like, there's like the journey of learning to get 5 juggling balls and just been able to get the control of 5 juggling balls. Once you get it, it's like, okay, I got that. And that looking back, I could have used another couple of years just to get that, because it was so fun trying to learn it. And some of these skipping ropes with the jumping rope, it's like when you get them, it's like the brain gets them, and that's like, okay, I've learned that. And it's like, okay. So it's just like, no, I could have spent longer learning that. So it's not always like this learn faster is the goal. So I don't know, like, what do you guys think? Some situations where learning slower is actually more fun.
Yeah, like sex.
Well, that's okay, tell us more.
No, I was actually, the first experiences, the first 10, 20 times, that should have lasted longer. That kind of feeling around it would definitely benefit from being dragged out 2 years rather than 2 months. So any type of where the process or the journey is more important than the actual goal of having learned it, then you should marinate on it and use more time on it. Like, if the point of learning how to do fly fishing is the journey, then don't rush it. Then you don't need this lesson on getting it through it fast and really getting it fast, because the point is not having learned it. The point is learning it.
that's what I really think schools should do a lot
Yeah.
more on, like help kids realize that learning it's a journey. It's not just this race. It's like, it's not a sprint. It's and everything's set up, and everything in Norway is like, we have to get the kids ready because at the end of the year there's going to be a test. Everybody we have to get this learning as fast and fast. And kids at school should just have this entitlement, almost this luxury of just like, relax, you guys are going to be students for many years. Just take it easy and spend as long as you want learning this maths. And I think if they experience this, that they can relax, they can just like take it easy, and it's not a race. Possibly they'll love the idea of learning even more.
But that
Yeah, and enjoying the math is more important than actually getting through the test. Much more important.
But I think like the society today is like all about, so that's a great advice, just slow down, because I think everything's about learning everything too fast. You're supposed to race your life and do the best in everything, and you're supposed to like know everything all the time. And yeah, that's a great advice, just to slow down and use your time.
Yeah, and when this external expectation comes that you should already know it, like in the business world, you are supposed to already know these and these and these things, right? And that's where the idea of faking it comes in. You pretend that you know it, and then you become afraid of revealing that you're actually not knowing it. So you become afraid of failing. So this becomes a protection of, I should protect my image of knowing this shit, rather than actually admitting, I don't really know this, and I'd like to learn more. Because
you're planting way too many things. You're talking about sex, you're talking about faking, now you're talking about protection. This is, again, too many pictures.
No. This is Brendan's mind on display. It's not about what I'm saying. It's what's happening in your head, actually. But the thing is that, you're trying to protect your own image, which is something you should stop doing, basically, because that will stop you from learning new stuff. It will stop you from being able to fail and trying to put yourself out of the comfort zone, and thereby learning more. So yeah.
I think I'm a great example of this, only by this webinar, because I wrote when we were supposed to vote, I had this double view instead of the normal view, and I couldn't go. I will never misspell that one again.
I gave you the hint. You can just click those 3 buttons and do edit.
No, it didn't work.
I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was great. I loved it.
Fuck it, just let it be there. I don't want to use that much energy on it.
There's something
cool,
beautiful
that's
in
really
something
cool.
beautiful in like just little mistakes that it's just like, I just think those things are like really nice whenever I read them, and I see people like spelling English wrong. I think like, that's so cute. That's really beautiful. That's just sort of like this crazy thing. It's like perfection is always a bit like, it's a bit not real. So I just like these,
and it's also boring.
Mistakes.
If everything is perfect, it's boring. It's and also the fact that you show the human side of something makes people more relaxed about their own ability to do something. Because if somebody else can fail and they look up to that person and he is failing or she is failing, then it's perfectly okay to fail. So teaching people how to fail is an important thing you can do.
Yeah, and also because we want more people to join this, and in the panel also, so you don't have to be like perfect in English, so you can just
we better let Brian talk, or people won't join in here. Come on, Brian, interrupt us.
Yeah, I'm trying, but
you gotta learn faster, man. Come on.
Oh, but regarding that we stress the learning, I think that's a cultural thing we do a lot here in Norway, because everyone brags about their kids being able to read at 4 years old. Okay, my kid, she was playing at 4 years old when she was 4 years. And we dress up the kids as adults. Why not just let them be kids? They are kids. They should be. Don't stress it.
And this is a cultural thing.
The tiny little projections of the failed parents that we're trying to fix everything as fast as we can.
Yeah, it's like I want to do all these 15 things before I was 40, and I'm sure gonna make sure that my son actually reaches that target because I failed. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a prediction, which is not good. And this is a Norwegian thing. It's a Western European thing, but it's even worse in Japan. It's even worse. It's like you have to do this, and you have to get through this, and you have to, it's very much stressed that you have to reach those goals. And there are a lot of cultures, especially in Eastern Africa, where me and Brendan has been a few times, and there is more relaxed and more, enjoying the time, and not this having to reach the goal always. So there are good cultures when it comes to slowing down and enjoying the journey more than just worshipping the goal or the finish line.
So this is like when me and Guy were sitting on the bus in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, and we thought we'd like be pretty cool and be really like, part of the locals. So the two of us in our suits, we were like standing out like really bad, and we thought we'd like go on the bus, and then we take the bus. It wasn't that far, but it was really hot. So we are going to take the bus like I don't know, it was like half a kilometer or something, just for fun. So I don't know who one of us asked like the bus driver when he's going to drive the bus, and he just answered like, just looked, I didn't understand the question. He was like, I don't know, when the bus is full. So we were sitting there like and realized, okay, so that timetable it's not going to happen. So we sort of like we should have learned that a little bit faster, but we got out of the bus and we walked.
Yeah, it's funny in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania and in general, buses do not go on schedule. They go when it's full. It's as simple as that. So the first time I was in Tanzania holding a seminar, which was supposed to be from 10 to 2, the first guy that came to the seminar was supposed to be 120 people or something in that room, and the first guy came at 11. That was like 1 hour too late, right? And the last guy that came 10 to 2. And I asked him, why are you coming? Well, he wanted to listen to the seminar. Well, it's over in 10 minutes. So it's very much a total relaxation when it comes to time, which is a difference actually between Tanzania and Kenya. In Kenya, it's more business-like, and in Tanzania, it's more vacation and chill-like, which is why I like Tanzania better.
I think I just got an idea. I think one thing would be really nice, it's always nice to get practical tips here for people watching this. And I think any parents watching this, a nice, really practical tip is to get like pen and paper and to write down what should my kids learn faster, what my kids should learn slower, and what my kids should, I don't know, possibly like explore, like just be curious, like, and then take that discussion with the kids. And then it's like, so what do you think you should be learning faster? What do you think you should be just enjoying the learning, but it's not a race? And if that is some school, just like it's totally open, and if that's school subjects, that would be a really nice thing to present at the parent-teacher meeting. That like have this meeting with one-on-one and say, my kid actually doesn't want to race for this test. My kid wants to enjoy wants to really slowly enjoy learning maths. Is that possible? And that would be really fun to find out those answers from the schools. The schools went, that's not possible. The Montessori school would say, of course, yeah, no problem. Just you can relax. You want to do maths for 3 years? No problem. You can just do that.
Yeah. And also you can stress what you want to stress, or you can focus on what you want to focus on. And then the last thing would be, so their little son or daughter, what would you not care about learning? Yeah. What can you leave alone? What don't you care about? Because that's also a part of it. You can just acknowledge that I don't give a shit about this guitar lessons. I really don't enjoy guitar lessons. And that, well, you can just acknowledge that. That's fine.
And in the schools, I also think, like Brendan said, if we can have the kids like, or the teachers like find out what we actually use, what we learn in school, what do we use when we get old. Like I have some subjects that I had in the 80s that I have never gotten used for. I wasn't interested either, but it was really boring.
Yeah, that's true. That's back to Guy's point that that they have to know why they're learning. Like kids today are training. Any kid that's using TikTok is training their brain that if this doesn't interest me in 7 seconds, I'm swiping.
Yeah.
Okay. And people are given presentations at work, and people are given presentations at school and expecting that the kids are going to follow it. So I had this presentation skills workshop today, and we were saying, like, you know, like in 6 or 7 years, people that are using TikTok today, they're training their brains so that you're going to have to interest them in 7 seconds. You know, that 30-second elevator pitch, you can forget about 30 seconds. So today I want a 7-second. You got 7 seconds to hit me with something. And one of the guys, he got this, he jumped up straight away and said, 2018 car crash. It was almost lethal. Here's what happened. And everybody was like, wow, that was crazy. What happened? And I goes, there you go, I got you. And that was like a really nice way of this 7-second pitch.
And this is why, you know, when then we get back to, you know, how to do presentations on stage, etc. Give the main point straight away. You know, give them the juice straight away. So if they faint within the next 7 seconds, at least they got the main point. And then you can do the anecdotes, and then you wrap up with the main point at the end again. So, and also another thing is that just to just elaborate a little bit on that, for every point you try to get across, each point will get less credit. So instead of, if you want to really drive home one point in your teaching to somebody, keep to that one point. If you add 5 more points, each point you try to get across only gets 1/6 of the value. So which is why you should keep the words to a minimum, because if you can keep it to 10 words, if you try to do 100 words, those 10 words will only get 10% of the value. So which is why you should focus on less points to drive across.
Cool. Cool. Yes, guys,
I'm done.
should we wrap it up?
Brian's
Yep.
rooster's almost done as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's all-
but guys,
it's almost
it was
done.
us. It was us 4 here last week. I think that we should take the full list of everything that we have, plus possible other subjects or anything. We have a list and we roll a dice and we do it totally impromptu that we talk about. And Brian, you have to be a lot better to interrupting us, because we like take, especially that other guy, that guy down there, like this little guy with a light behind him. So we have to. But I think it's like, we should just go impromptu, both for us and it'd be like it'd be fun for us. And like, I wonder what we're going to talk about right now, and then we roll the dice, and 10 seconds later we're talking about something. And Katrina, that's going to you be the best person to control a webinar, because then you're totally challenged. Like you got to do something and you're like zero prepared.
Yeah, I completely agree with this. Catherine, you're going to actually roll the dice and you're going to say, you know, straight ahead, this is the subject that we're going to do, go. And then we just go.
That's not sex, because guy, it goes totally wild. Not calculators and not sex. That's like it's like the rule.
Okay, so telescopes is still
Oh
okay.
my god. Okay, telescopes is okay, as long as you don't get into the size and the length of the telescopes. Then it's totally, that's
And the,
totally okay.
and the quantum mechanics is fine, and the mathematics is fine.
That's
Okay. We can do a lot, actually.
So I will find the dice for the next time, and then we will see what happens.
All right.
Yeah. Perfect.
Sounds good.
Let's do that.
Thanks for
Take care,
joining
guys.
us. Thanks again.
You guys are good.
Cool.
Take care. See you.
Take care.
Thanks, Catherine,
Bye-bye.
for doing this.
Oh, we need a
Okay.
screenshot. We need a screenshot.
We need a screenshot.
Screenshot. Brandon.
Good. Screenshot coming. There we go.
Det var gött.
Okay. See you next
See you.
Thursday.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.